Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're jumping right into a pretty sobering risk analysis. It's forecasting a round 2 conflict with Iran.
And the key thing here is how it frames it. Not as a maybe, but as a, quote, quantifiably imminent event.
Right, and the numbers they're using are startling. The likelihood score for a U.S.-led strike, they call it the IRL score, is sitting at an 8.4 out of 10.
Yeah.
That's highly probable.
It is, and the analysis says this isn't just about, failed diplomacy. It's being driven by what they call a structural necessity.
A structural necessity.
Yeah, essentially two major forces converging at once. You have these urgent geopolitical deadlines, and at the same time, this really deep domestic instability here in the U.S.
Okay, let's start with that domestic piece, because that's the variable that really surprised me. The domestic crisis level is at an 8.0 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
And get this, the model says that score alone contributes 2.4 points to the war likelihood. So our internal problems are actively accelerating us toward a foreign conflict.
It's the classic wag the dog scenario, but quantified. The source ties that 8.0 DCL score directly to the government crisis.
You mean the 43-day government shutdown?
That and what they call the strategic data blackout furloughing agencies like the BLS. So you can't even get objective metrics on performance. It's all part of this framework they've identified.
The Trump Chapter 11 thesis. Okay, break that down for us. Why does a business term like Chapter 11 lead to war?
Well, think about what Chapter 11 is. It's a tool for radical restructuring when a business is failing. The theory here is that when an administration faces, overwhelming domestic constraints, political, financial data, it seeks an executive action so powerful it can bypass all of that.
And war is the ultimate bypass.
It's the ultimate bypass. It's a way to restructure power under a model the source calls dominance equals success.
And the analysis mentions a MAGA faction pushing this. Who are they?
In the context of this report, MAGA stands for Make Iran Great Again. It's their label for the hardline faction pushing for outright regime change. For them, war becomes the necessary next step to reassert dominance when everything else has stalled.
Okay, let's pivot to the military side because there seems to be a contradiction here. We saw the USS Gerald R. Ford carrier strike group move to the Caribbean.
A very public redeployment.
Exactly. It looks like de-escalation. But the force posture score is still a very high 8.0 out of 10. How does that square?
Because it's a deliberate shift in strategy. The source calls it a carrier optional approach. They're relying on more resilient assets.
Like the bombers.
Exactly. The constant B-52 and B-1 rotations out of Al Udeid in Qatar and Incirlik in Turkey. You get the same, or even better, standoff capability without risking a massive high-value asset like a carrier.
And this all connects to that geopolitical deadline you mentioned, the now or never moment.
Absolutely. The central trigger is the assessment that Iran's nuclear breakout time has shrunk to about 1 week. That's the existential crisis point for Israel. It basically removes any option for conventional prevention, which is why the Israel strike likelihood score is a 10 out of 10. Imminent. Certain.
So this military posture is designed for a world where that trigger has already been pulled.
Mm-hmm.
Does that also explain the fragility in the economy the report talks about, this glass cannon idea?
It's the essential context for it, yeah. When you see gold, the ultimate safe haven rising right alongside stocks, it's a huge warning sign.
Because they should be moving in opposite directions.
They should. It means smart money is completely confused. They're hedging against systemic collapse and inflation at the exact same time. It's a market pricing in profound fear.
And if this all goes wrong, Iran has its own final move, this poison pill.
Correct. The ultimate asymmetric deterrent, according to the analysis, is an EMP attack, an electromagnetic pulse, potentially from a satellite.
And that would do what?
It could disable the U.S. power grid. Not for hours, but for months. It's their checkmate move if they feel regime change is unavoidable.
So, to sum this up for you, the listener, what we're seeing is the architecture for round 2 is now complete. An internal political demolition has perfectly aligned with an external nuclear clock.
Which leaves us with a really critical final thought from the source. Its escalation model is based on that dominance equals success idea we talked about.
Right.
So if that's the governing philosophy and initial strikes fail to deter Iran, which the analysis suggests they will, how does that administration interpret the retaliation? It sees it as proof that not enough force was used. So what does the next step in that terrifying feedback loop look like?